Hi, everybody. It's us.
Hello. We're here.
We're
Finally.
here. It's me.
It's been a minute.
Hi.
I'm the problem.
I'm the problem. It's me. Let me make sure that clicking that didn't just screw something up. Okay, cool. Here we are. Hello. Welcome back to VäkPäker's Guide to TTRPGs. This is episode 11, which we didn't realize until
just now. Yeah, we missed our 10th episode.
Yeah.
Oops.
Oh well. We may have
For some reason, I thought that this one was 10. Like, I thought we were coming back to 10. And so, like, when I was editing, I found out, no, in fact, the last one we did right before we decided that we were taking December off was actually 10.
And we didn't decide like, we were taking December off until the middle of December, so...
Yep.
It was like halfway through.
Because life got lifey. I was sick with RSV. Life was just being insane.
It was too much.
It was not good.
My brain couldn't.
We would have just been babbling incoherently even more so than we normally do. It would have just been terrible.
That could also be entertaining, though. If we ever do want to do that.
This is what two very sleep-deprived people look like.
Yeah. Stressed out and not healthy people. Okay.
Yep.
I have announcements.
Do the thing.
Our sponsor for tonight is Canadian Dice. Go to canadiandice.ca and use the code TheVACTER, all one word, at checkout for 15% off your order. Maggie's Dice.
He says turn up your input.
Oh, me? For me?
Yep.
Why, though? Fine.
I don't know, because, like, she wants to hear you talk or something, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I guess. I mean, that's slightly valid, but... I'm also a little bit far away from my microphone.
You quiet.
Hello? Is that better? I don't want to blow everybody's ears out. Okay. First announcement. Canadian Dice. Go to canadiandice.ca and use the code TheVACTER, all one word, at checkout for 15% off your order. Maggie's dice pick is Red Celtic Knot because they are black goth dice with red emo lettering and they are naughty. As in, never mind. Puns. Okay, next. Check out our merch store at tinyurl.com/VACmerch. You can get excellent designs like Half-Orc Energy and the Vac Blob and whatever else is in there. I think the 12 Days of TTRPG stuff is still in there because I just bought a sticker last night. And it's really cool. It's designed by Affy. And I think maybe the proceeds from that design still go to Extra Life.
I believe so, yes.
So those are still up for a little bit longer, so get it while you can. Also, feel free to buy literally anything else in the store.
There's a lot of cool stuff there.
It's true. And then as far as our upcoming schedule, we're getting back into the swing of things after taking December off. So tomorrow evening, tomorrow evening, the Artemis blob. I almost said the Vactimus, which is why I keep that in for the audio. You're welcome, podcasters. The Artemis blob tomorrow evening will be returning to DM Jeremy's channel for Legacy of Fire at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Oh, wait, you do cut all this out of them. Okay, anyway. Monday, Mr. Walker's returns at 8:30? Yes?
Yes.
Here on this current channel that you're on right now. On Tuesday, Artemis and Emily, that's us, we will be over on DM Jeremy's channel for Escape the Silent Courts at 9 p.m. Eastern. Which, I didn't realize it was at 9 o'clock, but that's okay. So it's good for me to know that, honestly. Because then I won't be an hour early. On Thursday is the Song of Crystal and Shadow at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And then Friday, we've got Fixies 5 at 8:30 Eastern as well. And as always, find our podcast wherever you download your podcasts from.
Great job.
Woo! Tonight we're doing level 4 spells.
Yeah.
Good old level 4 spells. I'm gonna switch this real quick so I can actually see what I'm doing. Ha ha ha. There we go. Yeah, level 4 spells from the player's handbook. We're starting to get into the mid-range spells. Yeah. Get into the good stuff.
The spells that have a little bit more meat to them.
Mm-hmm. A little bit more oomph. A little bit more damage sometimes. But as always, we're going through these in alphabetical order. So that means we're starting with A. And A
is Arcane Eye is the first
Arcane
one.
Eye. Yep.
I don't think I've ever used this spell. I think I've seen it used, but I don't know that I've ever used it myself.
I have never been a high enough level arcane magic user to use the spell. But it's basically just like short distance scry. Well, it's not even really scry. It's just like you can see around corners and stuff. You can move the eye up to 30 feet as an action. There's no limit to how far away from you the eye can move, but it can't enter another plane of existence. A solid barrier blocks the eye's movement, but the eye can pass through an opening as small as 1 inch in diameter. That's interesting too.
It's concentration for an hour. So I mean, you could really get some good use out of that. Yeah. Range is 30 feet.
You could move it far from you within an hour.
Yeah, for sure.
Basically, however far you as a character could walk in an hour is how far away from you could move this thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of cool.
So it says it's a wizard and artificer spell, knowledge domain and arcana domain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Decent spell. Nice utility spell. If you're like one of those sort of more utility class players.
Yeah, really good for a dungeon crawl or if you're trying to like sneak in somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. I would use that one if I ever had it. One of these days. One of these days I'll get away from divine casters and try something new.
Someday.
Yeah.
All right.
Next is Aura of Life. I have used this one. I think initially it was a paladin spell. But I think...
paladin, and then they added it to Twilight Domain and Wildlife when they came along.
Yeah, and I think it's actually on the extended spell list if you have Tasha's. For clerics and maybe druids, but...
Maybe. I'm not sure.
It's a nice spell. It lasts 10 minutes.
Yeah, which in combat is forever.
Yeah. Life-preserving energy radiates from you in an aura within 30-foot radius. Until the spell ends, the aura moves with you, centered on you. Each non-hostile creature in the aura, including you, has resistance to necrotic damage, and its hit point maximum can't be reduced. In addition, a non-hostile living creature regains 1 hit point when it starts its turn in the aura with 0 hit points. So really good for fighting undead, or if you're in a particularly bad fight where a lot of people go down. And you could just walk up to them and bring them back up.
Yeah, because a lot of times, that 1 hit point will pull them out of death saves, which is nice.
Yes.
Because nobody likes to have to roll death saves.
And you don't even have to get next to them. You just have to get within 30 feet.
Yeah,
so you could hit,
which is good.
Like if a number of people went down.
Yeah, and which is good because if you're, like, unless you're, is it Grave Domain, your Spare the Dying is touch.
Yes. Yeah. Grave Domain is the only one at a distance. And I believe Grave Domain also, when they do a healing spell, it's maximum healing if you're unconscious. For whatever level they do.
Maybe. It's been a while since I played a Grave Domain Cleric, so...
I'm trying to think of Caduceus. But it's been a while since I've watched Campaign 2.
Affy says yes.
Haha. See, sometimes I remember stuff. Thank you.
All right. So next we have Aura of Purity. This is another one that like I have this spell as a cleric, but I've never used it.
Oh.
It's on the, I think it's on the extended list for clerics.
Yep, it is.
And
it's on the
this
Beast
is
Domain
again
list. Fun fact.
Yep. And this again 10 minutes, 30-foot radius. And let's see. So purifying energy radiates from you in a 30-foot radius. Until the spell ends, the aura moves with you, centered on you. Each non-hostile creature in the aura, including you, can't become diseased. Has resistance to poison damage and has advantage on saving throws against effects that cause any of the following conditions: blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, paralyzed, poisoned, and stunned, which is great.
Ooh, I didn't
if
know
you
that
remember
works
to use the spell.
Stunned. Ooh, yeah. I did not realize that. Yeah, also if you there's a spell that's like a second level spell, I think, that's
I think it's similar to this, but it's not as powerful.
Right. It's like resist poison or something like that, where you can like, because there's the resist poison one, and then there's like resistance to other elemental things that you have to use for like dragon. I'm talking about this because I was in a dragon campaign once. Tyranny of Dragons. Fun times. But it was easier to protect everyone from green dragons because you could do a level 2 spell and pump it up to cover a bunch of people. Whereas I think the other resistances are level 3. But this is just an aura, and all you have to do is keep close to people, which could be good, or it could be really bad in terms of a dragon spraying a cone of stuff. But you're all resistant.
Yeah, that's true.
Nothing wrong with that.
It's one of those spells that makes it fun to be on like a virtual map, because if you're on a virtual map and you can see all the auras on there,
everybody's a different color circle or
there
something.
was an episode, there was a session of Mistwalkers where we were in it was an asylum, I think, and we were fighting a vampire, and everybody who had aura spells had them up.
Yeah. That's happened
so it just looked ridiculous.
That's happened to me in my Strahd game too, because all 4 of the players are spellcasters.
Yeah.
So you just end up with like 50 different auras. Heaven forbid you have the ability to bring up more than one spell at a time. Chaos.
Yeah.
Or like, if the bad guys can set off an aura. Oof.
Yeah, I think that's what ended up happening with us, was like we all had our aura spells up, and then I think because we were fighting a vampire, and I can't remember if they have an aura spell too or not, but like the map just looked ridiculous.
Well, that happened to you in Mistwalkers 2 when you were fighting the hags, right? There were auras everywhere, kind of.
Yeah, there was auras there, and then that night that you guys killed all the frogs, there was auras all over the place that night too.
Yeah.
Because like Keisha had one up, you had one up. I think Ram's random roll that night was their aura spell, or the aura thing that they have.
Yeah.
And then I think Elise had an aura up too. So like they were just everywhere.
Because Elise has been doing the one lately that's the like Sickening Radiance or something, I think it's called.
Yep.
Also.
Which is a good spell. Yeah. It's a great spell.
Keisha's was huge. It affected all trees in the area. It wasn't that like Wrath of Nature, I think I want to say.
Is that what it's
called? Where the like trees throw rocks at you or something like that. It's like great spell. Speaking of great spells, their next spell is Banishment.
I love that spell so much.
Spell so much. It's really good if you are fighting a creature that is from another plane of existence.
Or you're a DM and you use it on your barbarian who's not from this plane of existence.
That I'm so glad
The
we were
look-
able to break that concentration.
The look
Or
on Matthew's face
counterspell.
that night, priceless.
Was it counterspell?
It was counterspell
It was
because Keisha asked her counterspelled it, so it was great. I was like, yes.
Yeah, because
I'm so proud of
Elise
you guys.
tried to, but they were positioned behind a wall or something.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's like if you're a DM, it's good to use on characters that you know have low charisma as well, because it just takes them out of the fight for a while.
Effie says, "Fucking rude." You love me and you know it, so don't even.
You basically just send someone away, and while they're there, they're incapacitated. They stay there until the spell ends, which is a minute. If you're casting the spell, this is what's nice about it. If you're a player, if you're casting the spell and you cast it on a devil or something, and you're able to keep concentration for the whole minute, they go back to their home.
They stay there,
and they never come back.
Yeah, and that was the fear with Ram that night, was because Ram is from a completely different plane, and they would have gone back to their home plane of existence, and then we would have had to figure something else out for Affy until you figured out how to get Ram back. So
it would have been bad for us because Ram has more hit points than God.
Ram has like more than double, I think, of what everybody has.
Yeah, especially me,
because they're
but
because they're a barbarian, and I do max hit points because I'm a kind and benevolent DM.
And also, you rock us with every combat. But yeah,
I feel like I really do that much to you guys sometimes.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, like we didn't go down with the frogs or anything.
No, but
I think the only time I really ever got worried was when Ram got down to like
10 hit points that one time. Yeah.
That's when you get concerned. But it's a really good spell. A lot of classes have this spell. Like Arcane and Holy? Radiant?
Yeah.
Divine.
Divine.
That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, so it's a really good spell.
Yeah, so it says cleric, paladin, sorcerer, warlock, wizard, and then Oath of Vengeance, Oath of the Crown, and Oath of the Watchers.
Yeah, they just...
So those are what, paladins? Yeah.
Yep. Ooh, it's a good spell.
It is. I really love that spell a lot. And if you use a higher spell slot, you can send additional creatures.
Yeah.
So if you were fighting 2 rams, that would be terrifying because 1 ram is bad enough.
So bad. Our next one I am not very familiar with.
Is this the one that Ford used? So the spell is called Black Tentacles.
Well, there's 2 similar ones. There's Black Tentacles, and then there's another one that's like Arms of Hadar or something like that.
Yeah, so is this just the generic version of it? Like the non-named version of it?
Yeah, because there's like Everard's Black Tentacles is technically the full like wizard name version. But Arms of Hadar is a different, it might be a
different
higher
spell
level even. Because this one just fills a 20-foot square on the ground, but I think Arms of Hadar creates like magical darkness. And it has like a radius. Like a much larger.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Maybe we haven't gotten to it yet. I'm not familiar with that one.
And it does damage, yeah. Okay.
But it does have tentacles.
Yeah, when an affected creature enters the area for the first time or starts its turn there, they have to succeed on a dexterity saving throw, or they take 3d6 bludgeoning damage and be restrained.
By tentacles.
A creature that starts its a creature that starts its turn in the area is already restrained by the tentacles and takes... Okay, English is hard. Starts its turn in the area and is already restrained by the tentacles takes 3d6
Oh.
bludgeoning damage.
Wow.
Can use an action to make a dex or strength check to get out of it.
Wow.
Against your spell save DC. So
if Karini ever ends up in there, she is screwed. Cool.
She's
Good
so
to know.
like scrawny. It's fine. Rem will just come over and just like peel her out of it. It's
That's
fine.
true. I have no physical stats whatsoever. This also has a 90-foot range.
Yep. And concentration for a minute. So
yeah. It's pretty good.
Let's see. After that is my favorite spell ever.
This
is
your
Blight.
favorite?
Yes, Blight is my all-time favorite spell. I love this spell so much.
It's really
I get so
good.
excited when I get it. It is got 30-foot. What are you doing, you tiny menace? Got 30-foot range. Necromantic energy washes over a creature of your choice that you can see within range, draining moisture and vitality from it. The target must make a Constitution saving throw. The target takes 8d8 necrotic damage on a failed save and half as much on a successful one. The spell has no damage or has no effect on undead or constructs. If you target a plant creature or a magical plant, it makes a saving throw with disadvantage and the spell deals maximum damage. If you target a non-magical plant that isn't a creature, such as a tree or shrub, it doesn't make a saving throw. It simply withers and dies.
Nice.
And then you can increase the damage for each spell slot you said you use above 4th. Yeah. So I love this spell. It's one of my favorites.
It does a really good amount of damage.
Really it's honestly good. One of my favorites.
I don't know. No, this wasn't the reason for it, but anytime it says this spell has no effect on undead or constructs, it always gets a little, depending on like what you allow in your campaigns, it gets a little bit
yeah, it gets a little iffy, especially if you're fighting Warforge.
Yeah. And I know, like, so we had in Bankar, we had someone who's playing a hollow one, which is from like the Critical Role book. But when we looked it up, the hollow one description says they appear to be undead. They're not necessarily
but not actually
undead.
Yeah. So I think that would come down to like DM discretion, honestly, for that. Like whether or not you see it affects it or not.
There are constructs in the game that don't have like a soul. So you just have to kind of make that distinction and decide as a DM.
Yeah, that would be kind of where I would draw the line too. Is like, so like if somebody used this on say like Ram, I would say that it would work because Ram has a soul.
Right. Well, and
whereas like if you did it against like a Modron or something, like they don't have souls.
Right. And that was like part of the reason we got into the weeds over something similar is because there are certain healing spells and stuff that say that they don't work on undead.
That count as necrotic.
Well, no, they say specifically in the
that
spell that they don't work on undead. And we had to figure out if our Hollow One character could be healed at all. By anything except a long rest. And he can, and I just kind of honestly used Matt Mercer as the benchmark for that.
As the sort of benchmark for that, yeah.
But he also does allow, like, because they have a Hollow One in their 3rd campaign, and she can be turned by turn undead.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
She's not weak enough to be destroyed, but she can be turned.
Turned away by it, yeah.
Yeah. So, trade-off. Interesting trade-off.
Yep. And it's got a range on it of 30 feet, which is good too. So, I like it.
It's a good spell.
It's one of my favorite spells. Like, it is my favorite spell.
Okay. Oh, see, this is another one I'm not that familiar with. I think I've seen someone use it once.
I don't use very many enchantment spells, so like...
Yeah. Our next one is Compulsion. It's a bard spell.
Okay.
And yeah, creatures of your choice that you can see within range and that can hear you. So you have to be able to see them and they have to be able to hear you. Must make a
So it
wisdom
wouldn't work on
saving
somebody
throw.
who's in a silent spell.
Right. Target automatically succeeds on the saving throw if they can't be charmed. So that's another thing to take into account. On a failed save, a target is affected by the spell. Until the spell ends, you can use a bonus action on each of your turns to designate a direction that is horizontal to you.
Okay.
Each affected target must use as much of its movement as possible to move in that direction on its next turn. It can take its action before it moves. After moving in this way, it can make another wisdom saving throw to try to end. So you can just compel someone to move away from you or move towards someone else.
Yeah.
And it says they can't be compelled to move into an obviously deadly hazard such as a fire or pit, but it will provoke opportunity attacks to move in the designated direction. Which, that's interesting to me because usually, like, if you're teleported or something, you don't, or if you're moved against your will, you don't provoke opportunity attacks. But in this case, you can. So you could cast compulsion on an enemy and move them away from your friends and get them attacked. Give them, like, basically a bonus attack every turn.
Yep. And at the end of the target's turn, they can make a wisdom save to try and end the effect. Right. So
that's not bad. I really need to play more like arcane casters or something.
Yeah, I usually play like clerics and druids, so
yeah.
They don't use a lot of arcane spells.
Well, so I've never some of these like Kareni's multi-classed into wizard, but she's never going to go over level 2 in wizard, so I'm not going to be able to use any of these. And I've never played, like, I've played a bard before, but never at a high enough level to get to choose a spell like that. Yeah. I've never played a wizard super high level. Yeah. One of these days.
I mean, it's not like we're short on one-shots ever at this point.
That's true, but, you know, some of it you want to, like, get to explore all the spells you can do or something in a campaign.
Yeah, for sure.
We have several long campaigns, but you can only play in so many of them.
Yep.
Before you start to
go
lose
a little
track
crazy
of who you are.
Yep.
What character am I in today? What accent did I use for this one?
Right. So next up is Confusion. This spell I have used. It's concentration for a minute, and it's got a 90-foot range on it. This spell assaults and twists creatures' minds, spawning delusions and provoking uncontrolled action. Each creature in a 10-foot radius sphere centered on a point you choose must succeed on a wisdom saving throw when you cast a spell or be affected by it. An affected target can't take reactions and must roll a d10 at the start of each of its turns to determine its behavior. So the behavior that it can get is the creature uses all of its movement to move in a random direction. To determine the direction, roll a d8 and assign a direction for each die face. Creature doesn't take an action this turn. Next is creature doesn't move or take actions. Creature uses its actions to make a melee attack against a randomly determined creature within its reach. If there is no creature within its reach, the creature does nothing. And then on a 9 or a 10, the creature can act normally.
This is another
to
one.
end it, they can make a wisdom save at the end of their turns, too.
This is another one that's fun to use as a DM against a party, because you can make it like an ambient effect in a dungeon somewhere.
Yeah. Which is great.
Send someone walking off a bridge or... I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Next up we have Conjure Minor Elemental. Just a little elemental.
Just a little guy. These are like
spells,
methods.
Yeah. Conjuration spells can be controversial historically, only because, well, previously, before all of the tools on the internet, all these spells say something like, at the end of it. The GM has the creature statistics. And I've seen like you've heard of NADPOD before. They have something they do called Dungeon Court. And there have been times where they've said like they've had people send in cases where the DM just assigns something to them and they don't get to choose what kind of creature they summon. So but nowadays like there's so many tools available, you could just look it up yourself.
Yeah, you can just get the stat box for almost anything that you need.
Yeah.
So but it says that you can do 1 elemental of 2 or lower challenge rating, 2 elementals of 1 or lower, 4 of half, or 8 of a quarter. Let me tell you, as a DM, when somebody summons 8 freaking creatures on a map that you already have 5 players sitting on, it's kind of annoying.
Yep. Well, because it does, I mean, the perk of even if they are challenge rating 1 quarter or lower, you really screw with the action economy when you have that many people under your control.
You really do.
Because there's other ones, like, I think, is Woodland Beings the same?
It's pretty, I think it's very, very similar.
Very similar. Yeah, and that one's like fey creatures, so it's like a dryad, a blink dog, whatever. But there's also, I think there's another one that's like summon beasts or something like that that's similar as well. And I've used that before to summon like
that's a druid spell.
Elk.
Yes, you did that to me.
And then you can just like trample over a bunch of stuff and distract, you just cause havoc, even if it's only for a round. Totally worth it. I really like that spell because like as a druid, I like to use that spell, especially if I'm playing a Circle of the Moon druid. My favorite thing to do with that is I will summon 2 direwolves and then turn into a direwolf. Yeah.
Because you can use your wild shape as a bonus action and then you get pack tactics.
Yeah.
So
that's nice. Really good tactics. Yeah, so really the only difference between Conjure Minor Elemental and Conjure Woodland Beings is the type of creature. Oh, and the range. Minor Elemental has a distance of 90 feet.
Okay.
Woodland Beings has a range of 60 feet.
Okay.
Interesting.
Nice. So some of the things that it tells you can summon are steam methods, dust methods, ice methods, magma methods, magmin, which I think I remember what those things are. They're like little magma tiny. Yeah, they're little magma demons.
Made of lava.
Yep.
They're really cool.
Azers, which again, I don't actually know what those are. Oh, those are the things that look like dwarves, but their head's on fire.
Yep. Gargoyles are some kind of like earth elemental.
Yeah. Fire dwarves, yeah. And then I think like we fought mud muffets before. In Mistwalkers. We fought out like a whole room full of those.
Yeah.
So like that would be something that could be on there too. And it says that this is a druid and a wizard spell.
Yeah.
So
elemental summon disappears when it drops to 0 hit points. They are friendly to you and your companions. This says to roll initiative and give it its own turn, or give them their own turns. But usually what I do just to make it easier for me when I'm DMing is they go right after me. Or they go right after the player, I mean.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what I did when you summoned those elk, was that they went right after you.
Yeah. It minimizes confusion.
Yeah.
It says,
but it works. It like that kind of works though if you're like if you do what Affy does and you use rotating initiatives.
Yeah.
Because Mistwalkers we use rotating initiatives and it does it automatically, so we don't have to worry about it, and that's kind of
that's
like
nice.
that would work really well in that situation.
Like I said, Woodland Beings is the next one, and it's very, very similar. Oh, okay, here's another difference. The casting time for minor elementals is 1 minute, and they last an hour. The casting time for Woodland Beings is 1 action, and they last an hour.
That's for an hour. Okay.
But they're very, very similar. It's just that the creatures that you have for this are like a blink dog, a sprite, a satyr, a dryad, a sea hag, whatever. Are the sprites? Or is it pixies? Pixies are the ones that are super annoying. Because they can cast fly,
pixies are the weird ones.
And they can cast polymorph. Like, they can do all sorts of nonsense.
Sprites are just like, they have little short bows, and they use, they can turn invisible.
Okay.
What's the other one? And they can use heart sight, which lets them know the emotional state of a creature. So.
I'm going to look up pixies for a moment, because I think they technically fall within
that
sea hag challenge rating, if I'm not mistaken.
Weird. That's horrifying.
Because there's some sort of shenaniganery that can happen with that spell, and because it's a 1/4 challenge rating, so you can summon 8 pixies, and then they can cast like polymorph. Like, each one of them can cast polymorph. They can cast confusion, but I think there's something with, like, they can each cast fly, they can each cast polymorph, and you can basically just
do ridiculous things with them. Yeah.
Good times.
Let's see here. All right, so next up is Control Water.
Good spell.
Yeah, another really good spell. Duration 10 minutes. Casting time is an action. Range is 300 feet.
300 feet.
Is this the one that you used on the boat when you were fighting the dragon turtle?
Yeah.
Okay.
You control a 100-foot cube of water.
Okay.
So it's really good for, like, when you're on the sea, like on a ship. This is the one that they used in campaign 2 that Matt was going to have this, like, really elaborate like water encounter with them in another ship that was chasing them, and Caduceus cast Control Water and used the I believe you could cause a wave, or let me see.
It redirects the flow. Is that flow. Maybe? Yeah.
Yeah. And he was basically able to, like, capsize the ship.
Send the boat the other way.
You can also, like, well, I used the whirlpool ability because you can basically trap another ship in there or something.
Yep. And then you've got your players that cast Water Walk and take off running across the frickin' thing like
maniacs.
Yep. Not talking about anybody in particular or anything.
Definitely not. You can also, like, it's flood. Okay. You cause the water level of all standing water in the area to rise by as much as 20 feet. If you choose an area in a large body of water, you instead create a 20-foot tall wave that travels from one side of the area to the other. So it's a 20-foot wave in a 100 by 100-foot cube.
Yeah.
And it just goes across the cube.
Yep.
Oof. Yeah. I think I've used, like, part water because you can basically push someone away from you if another ship is coming towards you and you want to get away. And because it creates, like, a trench that they can't get across. And I think that's what Keyleth used to, like, get into the Raven Queen's temple. And
yeah, something like that, because she, like, used it to sort of, like, did she like push the water out of the way, or did she like make a bubble around them or something? I'm trying to remember now.
I think she made
It's been a while.
she made a bubble around them, or kind of a pod.
Yeah.
Lasts for 10 minutes. So
It's a good spell.
potentially,
Which
if you just have
again,
a
in
small
combat,
body of
it's like
water.
forever.
Yeah, in combat it's forever. And if you're doing some more like a water level, like a video game or a puzzle kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
also really handy. Usually plenty enough time
Yes.
to deal with whatever you got to deal with.
Yep. All right. Next up is Death Ward. So as a cleric, I've used this spell quite a bit.
Not concentration.
Yeah, which is great. You boop a creature and they're protected for like if they drop to 0 hit points, they instead go to 1 hit point, and then the spell ends.
Worth it.
Which is great
every time.
because there is inevitably in every party there is somebody who is more squishy than others.
Yeah.
And this is a great spell to use on them.
Inevitably gets put in bad situations more than others, or like has already died multiple times. Aster, or Aster's just died once, but
she's come pretty close a couple of times though.
I have been trying to cast that on Aster going into stuff.
Going into combat, yeah.
I should probably cast it on myself too.
Yeah, you're pretty squishy.
Because I'm real squishy and I'm the healer.
I'm the cleric.
The cleric? Okay. The cleric?
Affy's right. Lee Ram Jenkins.
That's right.
Okay, so next up is Dimension Door. I love this spell just because it's one of those spells that you can just be like, nope, I'm out.
Peace. 500
I use this spell. Yep. I used this spell during Legacy of Fire when I was playing my other character, Aya, because she was a warlock, and there was it was like a scout or something that was getting away from us, and he like made it into the brush, and I'm like, I cast Dimension Door and teleport in front of him and stab him.
That's right.
Because nope.
Nope. You don't get to do this.
Exactly.
The episode of NADPOD that I listened to today, they used it to escape a political prisoner.
There you go.
Good
so
times.
you teleport yourself from your current location to any other spot within range. The nice thing about this is you don't have to be able to see where you're going, but you can get stuck in stuff.
Yes.
Is the problem.
Yes.
So like if you take an educated guess and you're bad at math, you can end up in some pretty icky situations.
Yeah.
So because if you end up in Yep, if you end up in like a space that's already occupied, or like you end up in like a wall or something like that, you take 4d6 force damage when you pop out of it. So
dimension door yourself into a trap somewhere.
Right.
Ah!
That would suck.
You can bring objects along as long as their weight doesn't exceed what you can carry, and you can also bring one willing creature of your size or smaller.
Yep.
Creature must be within 5 feet of you when you cast the spell. Yeah, 46 force damage is the damage you will take. It says, if you would arrive in a place already occupied by an object or creature, you and any creature traveling take 4d6 force damage, and the spell fails to teleport you.
So basically, you bounce off of whatever you hit and then go back where you were.
Yeah. Boing. Ouch.
It's a good spell. I like it as a utility spell.
Yeah, it's really good. Bard, Sorcerer, Warlock, Wizard, Trickery Domain for Clerics, and Oath of Vengeance for Paladins.
Yep. Good spell. I like it. I approve.
Also, only requires verbal components, so as long as you can speak, you can cast it. Or if you're a sorcerer and you have Subtle Spell, As long as you can think it, you can cast it.
Okay. What do we got next?
Divination. I think I've used this as Karani.
Maybe? Yeah, I think you have actually. I'm pretty sure that you use this, and I can't remember if I use this as Keyleth or not, or Keli, or not. I don't think so. I don't think this is the one I used.
Yeah, this is the one I used because I, technically in our, inventory, it shows that Tusk Glove is worth 25 gold pieces.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember you used it as the component.
Because I was trying to contact Ioun, if I recall
because
correctly.
of Ram. Yep.
And yeah, because it says your magic and an offering put you in contact with a god or a god's servants. So it did not have to be my god. It just had to be a god.
Yep.
And I was like, God of knowledge, what would they like? How about a book?
A spicy book, nonetheless.
A spicy book.
It's fine.
Yeah, you ask a single question concerning a specific goal. These are tricky, I feel like, for a DM. I might not necessarily know how to respond, because I've never had anyone use this when I was DMing.
Yeah, so it's a
question concerning a specific goal, event, or activity to occur within 7 days. The GM offers a truthful reply. The reply might be a short phrase, a cryptic rhyme, or an omen.
So it doesn't have to be a direct answer. It can be something, sort of in the right direction, but it still has to be truthful.
Well,
spell doesn't take into account any possible circumstances that might change the outcome, such as casting additional spells or the loss or gain of a companion. Obviously, because you can't really tell the future. If you cast the spell 2 or more times before finishing your next long rest, there is a cumulative 25% chance for each casting after the first that you get a random reading.
Let me tell you how I would like to do that if I was a DM.
Just keep casting it.
Well, no. If I had someone cast this more than once in a day, I would roll to see which god it went to for the next time.
Okay.
So random reading may not reach your target.
Yep.
But it's gonna get
which
to someone.
god is this?
That could go really badly depending on.
Yep.
Like we cast this and it's like, you've been put in contact with Tharizdun. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw as you try to fight the madness.
Yep, exactly. That would be so much fun.
That'd be really fun. Let's do it.
That'd be great.
I'm gonna cast divination twice the next time.
Okay.
You run wild. I'm just in such a mood right now to be like, let's just see what happens.
Right? Just cause chaos. It's fine.
I like it.
I mean, you guys are running around in freaking Mount Celestia, so
yeah.
What could possibly go wrong?
It's gonna be great.
You cast it while you're in the forge and you random roll Morden, and he's like, I'm literally right here.
I could have just told you.
That'd be great. Just hear Ram in the background. Okay, so next up is Dominate Beast. This has an one action. Casting time is 1 action. The duration is a minute. 60-foot range. You attempt to beguile a beast that you can see within range. It must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be charmed by you for the duration. If you or creatures that are friendly to you are fighting it, it has advantage on the saving throw. While the beast is charmed, you have a telepathic link with it. As long as the two of you are on the same plane of existence, you can use this telepathic link to issue commands to the creature while you are conscious. No action required. Which it does its best to obey. You can specify a simple and general course of action, such as attack that creature, run over there, fetch that object. If the creature completes the order and doesn't receive further direction from you, it defends and preserves itself to the best of its ability. You can use your action to take total and precise control of the creature or of the target until the end of your next turn. The creature takes only the actions you choose and doesn't do anything that you don't allow it to do. During this time, you can cause the creature to use a reaction, but this requires you to use your reaction as well.
Interesting.
Each time the target takes damage, it makes a new wisdom saving throw against the spell. If it succeeds, the spell ends. And if you upcast it,
It just lasts longer.
Yeah. It increases the duration.
I don't think I ever realized that the base level of this only lasted a minute.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're in combat, like, that's enough time.
That's all you need.
Really.
Get the bird to snatch something out of somebody's hands or something.
Yeah. So.
But it does have to be a beast, right?
Yes, it says beast.
Okay. Interesting.
So, something to keep in mind. It's a good spell. Nice utility spell. I don't know that, like, not in the campaign that you guys are in right now, really. There hasn't been much call for something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I think just knowing the people in our group, I think people would be less prone to cast Dominate Beast and more prone to cast something like Animal Friendship.
Yep. 1,000%.
Yep.
I'm going to be friends with this giant toothy creature.
Yep.
Let's do it.
Oh, look, a sheep.
Oh,
the next
goodness.
one is just the same spell we talked about, but with a wizard's name in front of it.
Yeah, so that's the Black Tentacle one, the Evard's Temple.
Mm-hmm.
Black Tentacles. But after that is Fabricate, which is a spell that I don't know literally anything about. I don't think I've ever actually even seen the wording for this spell, because it's really for, like, wizards, artificers, and Forge Domain clerics. And
yes,
Forge Domain is, like, the one kind of cleric I don't think I've played yet. I'm pretty sure I haven't played Forge Domain.
I've only seen this used a rare couple of times.
Mm-hmm. So it's a transmutation spell. It's 10 minutes casting time, 120 foot range, and its duration is instantaneous.
120 foot cube area. It takes 10 minutes to cast it. Okay, you convert raw materials into products of the same material. For example, you can fabricate a wooden bridge from a clump of trees, a rope from a patch of hemp, clothes from flax or wool. Choose raw materials you can see within range. You can fabricate a large or smaller object contained within a 10-foot cube, or 8 connected 5-foot cubes.
Holy crap.
Jeez. Given a sufficient quantity of raw material. If you are working with metal, stone, or another mineral substance, the fabricated object can be no larger than medium. The quality
within a single 5-foot cube.
The quality of objects made by the spell is commensurate with the quality of the raw materials. So if you use...
Okay. So the better the materials, the better the item is.
Yeah. Creatures or magic items can't be created or transmuted by the spell. Interesting. You also can't use it to create items that ordinarily require a high degree of craftsmanship, such as jewelry, weapons, glass, or armor, unless you have proficiency with the type of artisan's tools used to craft such objects. But if you're an artificer, you have
or a Forge Domain
with a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, Forge Domain clerics too. They have proficiency with quite a few tool sets, if I remember correctly.
Interesting. So it says you can fabricate a bridge, but then it says a large or smaller object, which is only a 10-foot cube. So you can't make a large bridge, even if you're in a forest.
Yeah.
Even though you have 120-foot
range on it.
Range.
But it's
Interesting.
not concentration, which is nice.
True.
So you could do it more than once if you have the spell slots for it.
Yeah, that's true.
You
That's
just make
very
multiple
true.
bridges. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of spells I know nothing about. Faithful Hound? I've never seen this spell before.
Sorry, I had to sneeze.
Oh, you're good.
Um,
It's okay. Last time I had to blow my nose. Just a couple minutes ago.
1 action for casting time and a duration of 8 hours. So you basically summon a phantom dog.
Yeah. It's like a guard dog. While you sleep.
Yep. It's invisible to all creatures except for you and can't be harmed.
Oh.
When a small or larger creature comes within 30 feet of it without first speaking the password that you specify when you cast this spell, the hound starts barking loudly. The hound sees invisible creatures, that's nice, and can
Ooh.
see into the ethereal plane. It ignores illusions. Ooh, that's nice. At the start of your turn, the hound attempts to bite one creature within 5 feet of it that is hostile to you. The hound's attack bonus is equal to your spellcasting ability spellcasting ability modifier plus your proficiency bonus. On a hit, it deals 4d8 piercing damage. Oh, that's nice. That's actually a really good spell.
So it's invisible and can't be harmed, but it can still do damage.
Which is pretty freaking cool.
At the start of each of your turns. Which means you can use this without having to use an action. And it doesn't require concentration.
Yeah, which is really kind of awesome,
That's
actually.
Super cool.
That's a wizard spell.
I gotta play a wizard.
I'm here for it. That's pretty cool.
It's like
All right, so
a better version of the isn't there like a celestial guardian that like does 20 damage to each like bad guy until it disappears?
Is that Guardian of Faith or whatever?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
This is better.
Yes.
Sheesh.
Yeah, Guardian of Faith. Yeah, I got there. Okay, so next up is Fire Shield, which I didn't actually know was the spell until yesterday. Yep,
because
when I found out about it. Takes an action and it lasts for 10 minutes. And it's a self spell.
Yes. It's actually a pretty good spell.
Yeah.
It's thin and wispy flames wreathe your body for the duration, shedding bright light in a 10-foot radius and dim light for an additional 10 feet. So also good in the dark. You can end the spell early by using an action to dismiss it. The flames provide you with either a warm shield or a chill shield as you choose. The warm shield grants resistance to cold damage, and the chill shield grants resistance to fire damage. In addition, whenever a creature within 5 feet of you hits with a melee attack, the shield erupts with flame. The attacker takes 2d8 fire damage from a warm shield or 2d8 cold damage from a chill shield. That's cool.
That is really cool. Yeah, I literally didn't know about the spell until yesterday when we were talking about it with Alyssa. So.
And it lasts 10 minutes, so it could potentially last... It's not concentration.
Which is cool.
So it could potentially last through a couple of encounters depending on what place you're in.
Yeah, for sure.
That's dope.
That's cool. It's a good spell.
It's a really good spell. I didn't know that much about that one. I think I've seen it before from... Because it's an artificer spell, but also it's like Circle of Wildfire or something.
Yeah, yep. And then a couple of a wizard spell and a couple of warlocks.
Yeah. Nice.
That's cool.
And one that I'm very familiar with. Freedom of movement.
I know you cast this on Ram in the swamp when
Yep.
you guys were fighting the giant crocodile. I remember that.
I would prefer to cast this on Ram all the time if I could.
Yeah.
Because it lasts an hour. And if Ram... basically, like... It only takes 5 feet of movement to escape from a grapple. Difficult terrain doesn't affect them. Spells can't reduce their speed, and they cannot be paralyzed or restrained, which means if we ever get into any kind of jam, Ram can get us out. Also, really helpful for being underwater because...
yeah, because then the swimming thing doesn't affect you, right?
Yeah, well, and it says...
Or it's not as bad.
Being underwater imposes no penalties on targets' movements or attacks. Which means Ram would be able to use their axe without disadvantage. Which is usually the rules
a big deal.
Water. If it's not
a
It's a good spell. Again, not concentration. Straight up lasts an hour. This is the stuff that I use my 4th level cleric spells for. Like freedom of movement, death ward, and banishment.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, on to the last page.
Holy moly.
Okay, so we've got, first up on this one, we've got Giant Insect, which, again, I don't know anything about this spell.
I think I've maybe only used it once when I was in a one-shot.
It's concentration, and it lasts for 10 minutes. So you can transform up to 10 centipedes, 3 spiders, 5 wasps, or 1 scorpion within range to giant versions of their natural forms. Okay. So you use the bigger stat block then. That makes sense. Which is pretty cool. Each creature obeys your verbal commands, and in combat, they act on your turn each round. GM has statistics for those, so like we talked about. And actually, I think those might be in the back of the player's handbook.
They might be. Well, and like here on what we're using, you can just hover over it and see the basics.
Yep, and it tells you. Hi, Rick.
The only thing that might be difficult, it almost seems like you might have to have be in a specific environment.
Yeah, like this seems very situational.
Although it does say at the end, the GM might allow you to choose different targets. For example, if you transform a bee, its giant version might have the same statistics as a giant wasp.
As a giant wasp. Okay. That makes sense.
Interesting. I want a giant fly.
And they it stays in its giant size until it drops to 0, or until you use an action to dismiss it. Sure. Why not?
How big are they? A giant centipede is small. Giant spider is large. You could ride it. Giant wasp.
I think a giant wasp is...
Scorpion is also large.
Okay, but giant wasps, though, suck to fight when you're like a level 2 player, because I lost a ranger to those.
Oh.
So basically what happened was we were traveling, and our DM random rolled an encounter, and it happened to be a hive of giant wasps.
Oh, jeez.
And then right after that, we ran into gnolls. So we were already beat all the shit, and we ran into gnolls and got our butts kicked, and it just was not pretty. We TPK'd, and it was bad. I got eaten by gnolls.
Oh,
I was not impressed.
TPK'd.
So
you don't hear about that a lot.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen a lot. But we
were only level 2 though. So
sometimes you get into the worst situations. Like maybe you had a really rough battle and you made it out of there. And then you end up a swarm of bats takes you out.
Yep. Yeah, just something stupid like that.
Yeah. There was one, I think, in our Curse of Strahd game, we had a rogue at one point. And he tried to climb a tree, got attacked by a swarm of bats, failed a dex save, and fell out of the tree and went unconscious.
Oh, no.
It was because he was 50 or 60 feet up, something. You just never know. The littlest things. No. Or maybe you fought a golem as an alchemist artificer and nothing that you did worked against it, because acid and fire don't work on a golem.
Right.
And then you run into a swarm of bats after you've been wrecked by a golem, and all it takes is 3 hit points.
Right? Like,
Freaking bats.
freaking bats.
Freaking bats.
All right, what do we got next?
Anyway. Grasping Vine. I'm somewhat familiar with this, but you know what? I've actually never used this as a druid, even though I've played a lot as a druid.
Yeah, I don't think I've used it either because for one, it doesn't really work very well.
Yeah.
At least not that I've ever had it. Like the couple of times that I have tried to use it, it doesn't really work because a lot of times by the time you're using a 4th level spell, stuff has enough strength that it can like get out of situations fairly efficiently.
Yep.
So
you can use it to like yoink someone that's trying to run away or save a friend.
I think Keyleth did that to Vax. She pulled him out of the lava using that.
Yeah. And I think, didn't she... Okay, you know when they were in the... What is it? The, like, secret mage lair that had the, like, anti-gravity room? And they had to, like...
When they were in the Happy Fun Ball?
No, this is, like, campaign 1, way back. When they were trying to find Raishan.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember what you're talking about now.
It was like some necromancer's old lair. And there was like a anti-gravity room full of bodies. And someone got stuck in there, and I just remember that she was able to pull them out of the gravity with the grasping vine. I mean,
yes.
it's maybe useful in combat because it lasts for a minute. But there are more useful concentration spells at that point. I would think.
Okay.
I don't know. I've never used it. My druid was an Arctic druid and just didn't seem flavor-wise like she would ever prepare the spell.
Yeah. I got it. I mean, it's a utility spell. Mm-hmm. It's fine.
Yeah.
Lasts for a minute, but it is concentration, so.
It does seem like a high level for what it does.
Yeah.
Like a high level slot.
Rick says secret tunnel.
Secret tunnel.
Next up is greater invisibility. Good spell.
Very good spell. You can...
It's what? Bard, Sorcerer, Wizard, and Twilight Domain? Nice.
Also, mine says Moon Domain, but I think that's...
Isn't that the same thing as Twilight Domain?
No.
Or is that
like,
Unearth?
It's like, what is it? It's a certain specific setting.
Oh.
Why can't I think of it? It doesn't matter.
Is that the Greek one or whatever?
No, it's like an old one, like
Oh, Greyhawk or Dragonlance or something like that.
I was like Dragon Spear. No,
close. You're close.
Look, I started D&D in fifth edition. Okay,
Same.
Yeah, you get to be invisible and still cast spells,
which is nice. Because if you use regular invisibility, you cast a spell and it's just done.
Yeah. I think you can still make attacks too. I mean, it only lasts for a minute, but useful if you're squishy.
Yeah, it's a good spell.
If you're squishy.
And next is Guardian of Faith. Okay, so I think we were talking about this one.
Yes.
This is the one that's got a 30-foot range, lasts for 8 hours, does radiant damage, and it causes like a large spectral guardian to appear.
Yeah.
This is when it doesn't really have like a shape or anything. It looks like a sword and a shield.
Yeah. Which I know, like, I just have like a very distinct image in my mind of when they were in Aor in campaign 2 and Matt asked Caduceus what his Guardian of Faith looked like. And he said it was a suit of armor with a giant purple crystal as a head, like an amethyst crystal.
That's great.
I was like, sweet. That sounds really cool. Yeah. They have to make a dex save if they get within 10 feet. Okay. For some
And then they
reason I
take
thought it was
20
10.
radiant damage. So this is the one that only deals a total of 60 damage and then it goes away.
And then it goes away.
Yeah.
Which is
So
why I
basically,
say the
what,
Faithful
3
Hound.
rounds or a couple of people?
Yep. That's why I say Faithful Hound sounds better. Interesting. Also, not a concentration spell. Nice to use when you're sleeping. Okay.
Yes.
Next, we have hallucinatory terrain. I have not had any particular opportunities to use this because it's what? Bard, Druid, Warlock, Wizard, Circle of the Land, Desert. But yeah, I've never had a reason to use this one as a druid.
Yeah, I know Keyleth used this at the very beginning of campaign 1.
Yeah.
Keyleth used it when they were down in the Duragar tunnels, looking for Kima. She made she just extended the lip of a cliff to make it look like the cliff went further than it did, and a bunch of people fell off of it.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I mean it's good if you're into illusion spells and stuff like that.
Yeah. It does last 24 hours too.
Which
is kind of awesome. And it's
just make it look like there's a tree there or something.
300 feet away, 150-foot cube. So it could be a huge area that you can disguise and treat as a trap or... Actually, this would be fun to use as a DM too. I should use this. Okay. Yeah, the tactile characteristics of the terrain are unchanged, so creatures entering the area are likely
to see through the illusion.
If the difference isn't obvious by touch, a creature carefully examining the illusion can attempt an intelligence investigation check against your spell DC to disbelieve it. A creature who discerns the illusion for what it is sees it as a vague image superimposed on the terrain.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
I feel like it's kind of situational, but it would be useful.
Yeah. Yep.
Just depends on
what it is you're trying to do. It would be good for an ambush, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. Especially if you wanted to I don't know, put in a pit trap or something.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You in a road or something where you have the spike traps and stuff, and then you just make it look like the road is still there.
Yep.
That would work.
Nice. Okay. Ice Storm. I've used this spell before. Most druids have probably used this spell before.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I've used it.
It is useful. Is this the higher level version? Because there's Ice Storm and there's another one. It might be level 3. Sorry.
I'll take your word for it. I don't remember.
I think this one is a higher level one because it actually does damage. The other one just makes it difficult to train.
Yeah, Sleet
Storm. Thank you.
Says.
Doesn't Sleet Storm? I think just makes it difficult terrain.
Yeah, it makes it slippery.
But then this, and it can put out fires, which I've used for that before. But
this one does damage.
20-foot radius, 40-foot high cylinder. Can be up to 300 feet away from you. Each creature in the cylinder must make a dex saving throw. A creature takes 2d8 bludgeoning damage and 4d6 cold damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. Hailstones turn the storm's area of effect into difficult terrain until the end of your turn. So it's not just difficult terrain, it also does damage.
Yeah.
It's basically like the kind of hailstones that you see in the news that are like...
The huge ones, yes.
Yeah.
The golf balls.
Golf balls. Sweet. And all it takes is a pinch of dust and a few drops of water in one action.
Yes.
Druids are cool. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Exactly. Okay, so next is Leomund's Secret Chest,
I've heard this
which
referred
I've never
to...
used this spell.
Yeah, I've never used it either. I've heard it referred
It's an
to
arcane spell.
in like a DM's description of something, like an NPC
Okay.
getting like retrieving something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it
So
also
you hide a
costs
chest
a
and
lot
all
of
its
money.
contents on the ethereal plane.
Mm-hmm. It costs. It's like the material components are like an exquisite
Worth
chest.
5,000 gold.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
3 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet, constructed from rare materials worth at least 5,000 gold pieces, and a tiny replica made from the same materials worth at least 50 gold.
Holy
so you
crap.
have to have the regular chest, and then you have to have a little tiny one that you can keep in your pocket so you can retrieve it whenever you want. I don't think...
Well,
this is one of those that I don't think I would make my players use that cost.
Yeah.
Because...
Well, the chest remains on the ethereal plane. You can use an action and touch the replica to recall the chest. Okay.
I mean, it's good. It's just a storage space.
Mm-hmm. It's good for, like, story purposes, I guess.
Yeah. But, like, if you're just using a spell for story purposes, I'm not going to make the character have 5,000 gold pieces.
Right.
That's ridiculous. I feel similarly about some of the cleric spells. It just seems silly to have, like... I understand for something like Revivify or something like that to have a cost. But 5,000 gold pieces to have a storage box? Come on. No one...
And also, there's a chance that you could lose it, too.
Yeah.
So it says after 60 days, there's a cumulative 5% chance per day that the spell's effect ends. This effect ends if you cast the spell again and if the smaller replica chest is destroyed, or if you choose to end the spell as an action. If the spell ends and the larger chest is on the ethereal plane, it is irretrievably lost. So your chest is just floating around in the ethereal plane somewhere. I mean, that'd be great as like a side quest.
Yeah.
Like, I screwed up, lost my chest. I need you to go get it from the ethereal plane.
Really important item. You know what makes sense to have something like this is for, like, when you have like a cursed item or something and it can't be destroyed, so someone has to like secret it away somewhere. But I don't know if it makes sense for like a wandering adventuring party to ever use this spell.
I feel like this is very situational.
Yeah. I don't know.
You know, like maybe if you're playing in a campaign that takes place in like one city.
Yes. Yeah.
Then it would make more sense to have something like this.
Yeah.
But not where you're running all over the world like you guys are.
No. Yeah, anyway. Here's a spell that I prepared that I didn't use yesterday. Locate creature. I was like, maybe if we need help finding where Moradin is.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
But we didn't end up needing to do that.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. They have to be within 1,000 feet of you. They have to be in some way familiar to you.
Lasts for an hour.
But then you can like feel where they are. This, I don't know if I realized this before. The spell can locate a specific creature known to you or the nearest creature of a specific kind.
Which is a human or a unicorn. I love that that's the example it gives.
Nice. Well, if you go looking for a unicorn. If the creature you
Look at that fluffy
described or
unicorn.
named is in a different form, such as being under the effects of a polymorph spell, the spell doesn't locate the creature. Interesting.
Oh, that's inconvenient, but okay.
Also, the spell can't locate a creature if running water at least 10 feet wide blocks a direct path between you and the creature.
Okay, so if there's like a river between you guys, it won't find them.
Tough luck. They might just be on the other side, but you'll never know. It only lasts an hour or two. So you got to be within 1,000 feet with no rivers between you by the time an hour is up.
Yep. Next one we talked about already. That's the Faithful Hound.
Oh, so it's attributed to good old Mordenkainen.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I really did not know this was in the player's handbook.
The Faithful Hound? Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
I didn't realize that it was in here either. I thought it was in one of the compendiums, but all right. Whatever.
What is this spell? What is the name of the spell?
The Faithful Hound?
No, the next one.
Oh, Private Sanctum.
Sanctum. I was like, it's just giving me ellipses. And it, no matter if I make my page wider.
Yeah, Mordenkainen's Private Sanctum. Lasts for 24 hours. Casting time is 10 minutes. You make an area within range magically secure. The area is a cube that can be as small as 5 feet to as large as 100 feet on each side. The spell lasts for the duration or until you use an action to dismiss it. When you cast the spell, you decide what sort of security the spell provides, choosing any or all of the following properties. Sound can't pass through the barrier at the edge of the warded area. The barrier of the warded area appears dark and foggy, preventing vision, including dark vision, through it, which is nice. Sensors created by divination spells can't appear inside the protected area or pass through the barrier at its perimeter. Creatures in the area can't be targeted by divination spells. Nothing can teleport into or out of the warded area, and planar travel is blocked within the warded area. So they use this spell in Campaign 1 when they went to go see Jamansa Ord. They talked to, yes. So they used it when they were talking to like the captain of the guard or something on Corel.
Oh.
Right? That's where he is. Yeah, he's in they're in
on Corel.
Yeah. So they were talking to like the captain of the guard, and they were like out in the middle of nowhere in the city, and the captain was like, okay, you have some really important information for me, give me a second. And then they cast this spell.
Dang, I don't think I ever realized that.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was called, but like when I read the description of the spell, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember now. So
interesting.
Yeah, it's a cool spell for if you need to like have a secret meeting that you don't want anybody to hear. Like if you're like in like, say you're preparing for battle and there's a concern that like there's a mole on your side or something, like this would be a perfect spell for that.
Yeah. Well, and this spell is similar to other ones like Magnificent Mansion, and I think well, technically like Sacred Temple or Temple of the Gods, I think it's called, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Casting it on the same spot every day for a year makes it permanent.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's a good spell. Like,
it is a good spell.
It's one that I feel like you probably is kind of situational because it takes 10 minutes to cast it.
Right.
So it's a little situational, but again, it's a way to like make sure that information is secure. So there's that.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely good, especially if you know people are after you.
Yeah, for sure.
You can make it bigger if you use higher level spell slots too, is what I'm seeing.
That's cool. Nice. Give it an additional
5th level spell could be a 200-foot cube, and so on.
That's crazy.
Wizard or artificer.
Okay. Nice.
Nice. To Luke's Resilient Sphere. I have the spell. Craney has the spell.
This is the one that didn't Jamansa Ord get stuck in this?
No, that was Force Cage, but
Was it force gauge? Oh, it's similar to this.
Scanlan used this on a fire genie when they were trying to close the rift between the fire plane and Pyra, if I recall.
Okay. Is this also the spell he used on the doctor? What's her name? Anna Ripper? Or Ripley? There we go.
Oh, yes.
Like when they were going to kill her, because like Percy had just died and they all gathered around it, and then he dropped the spell and they killed her. Yeah.
I initially thought maybe it was banishment, but they could see her.
Yeah.
If I recall. So it was this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically an invisible hamster ball.
Yes, it really is. It's just a giant hamster ball. It's great. I love it.
Sphere of shimmering force encloses a creature or object of large size or smaller. Unwilling creature must make a dex save. On a fail save, the creature is enclosed for the duration. Nothing, not physical objects, energy, or other spell effects can pass through the barrier in or out, though oh yeah, because she tried to like shoot or cast spells or something. Though a creature in the sphere can breathe, the sphere is immune to all damage, and a creature or object can't be damaged by attacks or effects originating from outside, nor can a creature inside the sphere damage anything outside it. The sphere is weightless and just large enough to contain the creature or object. An enclosed creature can use its action to push against the sphere's walls and thus roll the sphere at up to half the creature's speed. So you could use it to protect yourself.
Like literally a hamster ball.
Run away.
Yep. It's quite literally a hamster ball.
I should use this on Karani.
Similarly, the globe can be picked up and moved by other creatures.
I might need a ruling on something in just a second.
Okay.
From you as my DM.
Okay.
A disintegrate spell targeting the globe destroys it without harming anything inside. So you can destroy the globe with a disintegrate spell. Now here's my question. If I, as Karani, cast this spell on myself while I had a familiar out and about, could I cast spells through the familiar while protected in the sphere?
Ooh.
Tricky, right?
Right.
Because it says...
I would say no, because other spell effects can't pass through it, and that's technically an effect.
Yeah. It's tough. Because, like...
Yeah.
Is it passing through it if you're doing it through your familiar? But it kind of is, because you have to be connected to your familiar.
Yeah, not physical objects, energy, or other spell effects. Energy. I would say no, just given the wording of it.
Well, shoot.
Like, it's a cool idea, but...
Well, if I ever get in trouble, I might still use it on myself.
Look, I let you get away with using Tensor's floating disc and an air elemental, okay?
Karani's elemental chariot.
Exactly. That is the most ridiculous thing ever.
You know what I realized, too, is... they kind of do it in the second campaign for NADPOD. Emily Axford's character uses Tensor's floating disc to carry people a lot.
Okay.
But she has Phantom Steed.
Oh, okay,
and
yeah.
So that's how they get away.
Nice.
So it's just a little different. But yeah. It's kind of similar.
The next spell seems like an Elise spell to me.
Yeah, although I don't think...
It's not a sorcerer spell, though.
No.
But, like, I feel like this would be something Elise would try to cast. Probably. So it's Phantasmal Killer. And...
Ooh. Range of 120 feet. Concentration for a minute. Interesting. You tap into the nightmares of a creature you can see within range and create an illusory manifestation of its deepest fears visible only to that creature. The target must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the target becomes frightened for the duration. At the end of each of the target's turns before the spell ends, the target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or take 4d10 psychic damage. Holy crap.
Nice. On a successful save, the spell ends.
So they're frightened and you can hurt them with it.
Yeah, so this is kind of like, what is the other one that is it Phantasmal Force? This is like the adult version of Phantasmal Force, where like that one you can make them see things too, and it does psychic damage. Like they believe that the spell is real. This is very similar to that, but higher level, obviously. And yeah,
Big Daddy version.
yep.
Bree would
Yes,
know about
Daddy.
that. Right, Bree?
She is Sky Daddy after all.
I think there's a delay, so it's gonna take a
Yeah.
second to get a response. Anyway.
And
Good
that's assuming
spell,
she's
though.
still here. I'm Daddy. Yes, I'm Daddy.
Yeah. Knew it.
All right, what do we got next?
Next, polymorph.
Great spell. I fucking love this spell so much. I use this spell as smudge a lot.
Really?
Yep.
That's
Like the
awesome.
first time I did it, Jared was like, "What?" Because we were fighting like I think it was like it was like a sphinx or it was like a giant undead vulture thing.
Yeah.
And I landed in the desert in front of us, and I'm like, I panic and turn it into a bug, and I use polymorph. And it worked. And then we ran away.
That's what Astra used to turn the thing into a sheep also.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What is it called? Dragon turtle.
Yes. And then she wanted to adopt it.
Yeah.
Because all of you are nuts.
When it changes back in an hour, it's going to be really hard to deal with. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, so transformation lasts for the duration or until the target drops to 0 hit points or dies. New form can be any beast whose challenge rating is equal to or less than the target's. If the target's level if it doesn't have a challenge rating. Target's game statistics, including mental ability scores, are replaced by the statistics of the beast. So this is like, I think, did Jester use this to turn into a moth and she was like bouncing off the curtains or something for like 5 minutes?
Because I believe what happened was she was like, I turned into a moth. And then Matt was like, you're a moth. You have an intelligence of 1.
Yep.
You eat the curtains. Like,
yeah.
So... And then she like didn't get anything done.
Yep. That was when they broke into the temple of Bahamut, right?
No,
and they were gonna mess with the statue.
This was in Jorhas when they were trying to spy on the shop where they thought someone.
Okay.
It was like the pre-Oban.
Okay. Yep.
Situation. But they did also use. Because they ended up, when they were going to Aor, up against a frostworm, and everyone got stunned except Jester, and she cast polymorph on it and turned it into a turtle.
Yep. Like, we gotta go, you guys.
Yep. It's a good
spell. Did Caduceus turn a dragon turtle into a regular turtle too with it?
Yep.
Or was that Jester that did that? Somebody did something to a dragon turtle.
He turned it into a regular turtle, but it still had a speed to keep up with the ship. And then he ended up casting it again and turned it into like a sea cucumber or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Just funny. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, you get the hit points of whatever creature you become. So
it's one of those ones that you have to be careful with. If you use it to like turn that creature into something else, you got to make sure that none of your idiot friends hit it so that you can get out. Like,
the other thing with that is, the nice thing about it is you can turn into things like a woolly mammoth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With a whole lot.
I turned into a giant ape.
Yeah. I believe when they were at the whatchamacallit volcano, freaking Caleb turned into a T-Rex.
Mm-hmm. And I think, didn't he also use it when they were in the Happy Fun Ball?
Yes. He also
turned
used it
into
in their
the-
most recent one shot in
Okay,
London.
yeah. Yeah. So
Also
it's a good
became a
spell. I really
T-Rex
like
again.
it. Yeah, it's a good spell. I almost turned into a T-Rex in Legacy because we were on a boat that was stuck in a bunch of spider webs. We were fighting these like really crazy looking spiders, and I'm like, I panic and turn into a dinosaur, and then I realized where we were, and I'm like, wait a minute, I turned into an ape. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, it was pretty great.
I think the next 3 are ones we've already gone over. Sans.
Yeah, they just are the
Wizard
generic
names.
ones.
Yeah.
It's like the Private Sanctum, the Resilient Sphere, and the
Sphere.
Secret Chest.
Yep.
Yeah, we went over those.
Okay.
So that brings us to what? Staggering Smite?
Staggering Smite. I'm not familiar with this one.
Me either, because it's a Paladin and Hexblade spell. Which would be why I don't know anything about it, really.
The next time you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack, during this spell's duration, your weapon pierces both body and mind. Ooh, and the attack deals an extra 4d6 psychic damage. Heck yes.
Nice,
Not
'cause
a
not a lot
lot
of
of
things
resistant to psychic.
Yeah, exactly.
Target must make a
A wisdom save. And on a failed save, it has disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. Nice. Can't take reactions until the end of its next turn. That's a nice spell.
That's a nice smite.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
And it lasts for a minute, so like if you miss, you get a chance to hit again.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. It's a bonus action as casting time. That's pretty cool.
The only downside, so like, you can add a smite, just a regular old smite to any damage as a paladin. Like if you crit, you can decide to add a smite, and then you'll just like your damage goes absolutely wild.
Yeah.
But
Unless you're Ryan, because Ryan makes you claim the smite before you hit.
what?
Yeah. He homebrews a rule that you have to call smite before you hit. So that if you do
Ryan,
crit, then it's
that ain't in the rules.
We were talking about that the other night,
And it's
like
definitely
when
not
we were hanging
rule
out
of
with
cool
Jared.
either. What's the matter with you, Ryan?
Because he doesn't like it when they can do like
100
insane
points of
damage.
damage.
So
Prepare accordingly for a paladin. What's the matter with you? Just
Right,
add
exactly.
like
It's
500 hit points to your monsters. Easy.
preparing for Ram, I have to add extra
yeah.
hit points to literally everything.
Yeah.
So
I do wish that, because like paladins don't get a lot of spell slots anyways, and I mean, yeah, you use it for your regular smites, but if you're going to use a 4th level spell slot to do this, you'd better be able to add it as a bonus action each round, I think,
yeah,
and not just the first time you hit within a minute.
yeah.
4th level
That's one of the things I don't.
Come on.
Yeah,
For a paladin?
because paladins only get up to a certain
5
level,
is the
right?
highest.
5 is
Yeah.
it? Okay.
So this is like one of their highest spells. You really think they're going to use it for that? To hit once? Yeah. Nope. Anyway. Maybe that's just me. But I'm also one of those people that's like too generous with what I give people. and then I wonder why it's so easy to kill all my monsters. Whatever. It's fine. Also, why does it need to be concentration if you can only hit with once? Again, just
Right? Just cast it and be done with it. But I guess because you have to like hold on to that concentration for like
you could
until
be a
you hit.
fighter. This is what kills me about it. Okay, I could be a fighter with a cantrip. I can have booming blade or green flame blade and do as much damage at that level for free.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no. Just to hit once? Come on.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my 2 cents on that one.
As we rip on paladins some more.
Well,
Which is funny because I'm playing a paladin in Jared's one shot next week.
In this case, I'm not trying to rip on the paladin. I'm ripping on Wizards of the Coast.
The wording of the spell.
I realize paladins are really powerful with the smites that they can do, but like, why give them a 4th level spell that they can use once?
One time.
for one
Yeah.
hit to do 4d6 when the fighter next to them could do just as much damage with a cantrip at the same level. No.
Don't chew on my microphone cord.
Silly.
No.
Oh,
No.
but the fighter gets more attacks, so actually they do more damage. Sorry. Well, I guess they don't get
There you
smites,
go.
Whatever. It's fine. I have just decided that I care about this right now, about this spell that I've never heard of before. I just want to throw that out there. Sorry.
I mean, everybody's got that hill they'll die on.
Yeah, I'm always a fan of making
Just ask
the magic
Kathy
more
about
magical.
the frog fight. Every time.
I always want to make the magic more magical. That's
Yeah.
that's going to be my stance every single time.
Okay, so what do we got next? Stone shape.
Pretty good spell, actually.
I don't think that I've used it.
It's a good.
I've heard it used, but I don't think I've actually used it.
I used it in our little sanctuary in Fixius.
To like fix the thing in the roof, right? The hole in the
fix
roof,
the
and then
hole, and
rearrange the.
I used it to make like the little insets for our,
For your
incense
deities.
and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can use it to like get into a cavern. They used it multiple times for things in Critical Role.
Mm-hmm.
I used it in the campaign where I had a Tempest cleric to create like a large altar for her.
Okay.
Yeah. It's good for like cool role play stuff, or for like getting into spots or creating barriers. Yeah.
Okay. So you touch a stone object of medium size or smaller, or a section of stone no more than 5 feet in any dimension and form it into any shape that suits your purpose. So it gives examples of you can shape a large rock into a weapon, idol, or coffer, make a small passage through a wall as long as the wall is less than 5 feet thick. You could also stone shape a door or its frame to seal the door shut. The object you create can have up to 2 hinges and a latch, but finer mechanical detail isn't possible. So like it wouldn't have like a lock on it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good spell.
Yeah.
I've never used it, but yeah, it's a good spell. It's
feel
cleric,
like
druid,
it's-
wizard, artificer, circle of the land, and circle. So it's like circle of land, mountain, and then the genie.
I mean,
That's fun.
I've used it for like RP stuff a lot. Downtime
Okay.
stuff. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. What's next?
Stone Skin is next. It basically can make someone who's not a barbarian resistant to non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage for an hour. It also, but
Okay.
again, it's another one that has like a ridiculous cost. It's already a 4th level spell slot, but you're going to make it worth also cost 100 gold
100
pieces
gold.
every time you cast it. Come on.
Yeah. Worth of diamond dust, which when you're a cleric, you're using diamond stuff for other things.
Yeah, like this is greater restorations. This is revivifies. You're not wasting out on stone skin. Ain't no way.
Yeah. Nope.
Although I think
Sure.
this
Oh yeah,
is-
Keela has this because she's a war domain.
Oh,
so.
war domain. I was gonna say I don't
Yeah.
think I have it, but druids get it. But I've never used it as a druid either, because it doesn't
Yeah.
seem worth the 4th level slot.
Yeah.
Last one
Right.
is
Final spell.
Wall of Fire.
This is a good spell. Caleb used this a couple of times
Yep.
in campaign 2. This is a cool spell.
The most iconic of which I believe has to be on the pirate island.
Yes. Yep. When they were on
Being
Darktoe and they were
confronted.
yeah. That was cool. That was a cool
Just
use of
being
that
like,
spell.
I drag my hand, I create a wall of fire as I drag my hand through a bit of phosphorus. Yep. 60 feet long, 20 feet high, and a foot thick, or a ringed wall up to 20 feet in diameter. I believe you choose which side is hot.
Yes.
One side of the wall selected by you deals 5d8 fire damage to each creature that ends their turn within 10 feet of the wall.
Which is cool.
A creature takes the same damage when entering the wall for the first time on a turn, or when it ends its turn there. The other side of the wall deals no damage. Very interesting.
And you can increase the damage for each spell slot, so that's pretty cool. It's a dex save to...
Yep. The wall is opaque.
You still take it in half.
I don't think I realized that it's opaque before, so you can't see through it.
Mm-hmm. I guess that makes sense because it's fire, and like if the fire is like bad enough, you can't really see through it.
Yeah, it does say it's a foot thick, so foot thick of fire would be.
Yeah, that's a lot of fire.
A lot.
It's a druid, sorcerer, wizard, light domain, forge domain, fiend and celestial, and artillerist.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all.
120-foot range also. So you can cast it pretty far away from you to keep people away.
Yes, exactly. Like, nope, you can't follow me. Go away.
Please stay away.
That would be a good one to use as like if you're trying to escape from somewhere and you like block off a passageway behind you. Like that would be a good use of that spell.
That would.
Especially since it's only like an action to cast it, so.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And you can still
What is it, a Taco Bell circle of fire? I don't think so, Jer.
What kind of... No, I'm not going to ask.
Well, that brings us to the end of our 4th level spells.
It does.
So we're cruising through them now. Like they'll start going faster now that we're getting into the higher level stuff because there's not as many of them. So that'll be good.
But they also get more complicated as we go up. So
yeah, that's true.
See how it goes.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Next time, level 5.
Yeah. Affy, if you're still in chat, is there somebody that we can raid? Because I tried to raid last night from my setup and it would not let me. I don't know what happened, but it wouldn't. And I was logged in on the Vaktir, so I don't know. I don't know what was going on. But it would not go through. We were trying to raid Lich last night and I was typing the command in and it just like nothing happened.
Oh.
So I don't know. It was weird. Yes, we are raiding.
DN Denial. DN
Denial.
Nice.
All right.
Stick around for the raid. Get some points if you don't already have 105,000 points like I do. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, hold on. I have to... Dang it. Hang on.
You gotta do the thing.
I gotta do the thing. I say bye and then I don't leave. Do. Bye.
Hit the button.